Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by the divine. Good morning to everyone. Today I had chosen a topic: attachment, detachment, and moderation in enjoyment. The interesting topic. Before going to Maharishi's concept about this topic, I would like to narrate a small story which will enlighten us what is detachment. A saint who has detached all his attachment and leading a very simple life. He eats whatever he gets from the village people and sleeping in the open space. One day, the saint was sleeping on the field, is on the mud. Two ladies from the village. Two ladies from the village passing through that side to collect water from the river. One lady prized the saint to the other and said, "See, he is sleeping on the mud. He has no attachment. How great he is." The other lady replied, "No, he is not head detached with his comfort. Look at him. He is keeping his head high and sleeping with the comfort." The next day, the same ladies passing through the way, the sage was lying on the flat surface. The lady who prized the saint said, "See, he is sleeping on the mud. Do you agree now he has detached with all comfort?" She replied, "No, I won't. Look at him. He is keeping his hand like a pillow to his comfort." The saint heard this conversation. He decided not to do so. The next day, the ladies were crossing the saint. The first one said, "See, he is not keeping his hands also. Now at least accept he is detached with everything." The other lady refused very strongly. "See, he is listening our conversation and changing his actions, giving importance to others' comments. How can we say he is detached with everything?" The saint heard this conversation and realized detachment means not only detach with the materials in the world, it also detach with our actions as well as the results. So let us move on what Maharishi was given as under this topic. As for Maharishi, body and the spirit, that is life force, are both functioning jointly in a man. The body is a product of the imprints. As we know, we have three kinds of imprints: Sanchita karma, that are all the imprints passed on by the forefathers through the hereditary. The prarabdha karma are those accrued by the individual during present lifetime, and together they make the personality of a person. Thoughts, words, and deeds are born of the influence of these two, and they are called akamya karma. So the word akamyam itself, a plus kamya, a means a soul and kamya means desires. That means deeds born on the desires that develop in the mind under the influence of Sanchita karma and Prarabdha karma. The three together run the life of an individual. That's why it is said the body is the result of sin imprints. When this fact becomes clear, it helps us and guides us the persons along the path of virtue. People usually say, we enter to the world empty-handed and depart from it with empty-handed, which is not correct. We come with a load of imprints and leave with an ever bigger load, the result of our ill-advised life. The spirit, that is a life force, the storehouse of all karmas. It is also the point of consciousness, starting its function in the fractional state. The life force is also the source which, by the self-rotation, changes the biomagnetism and intensify it within the body to carry out all the physical and psychic functions of man. This biomagnetism is always allied to the universal magnetism. Therefore, the fractional consciousness can extend its activities from fractions to totality. Biomagnetism as linked with the body, senses, brain, consciousness, and the universal world field also. we should know the value of this biomagnetism, how to store, conserve, and utilize it properly for our survival, enjoyment, and also success in our life. Pain and pleasure are the two main feeling experiences by man. All activities of man, thoughts, speech, and deeds are centered upon the sensation of pleasure and pain. Harmonious flow of biomagnetism causes peace, pleasure, and ecstasy. The disturbed flow of biomagnetism gets short circuited in the body and brain. This causes pain, misery, diseases, and ultimately death. As Maharishi said, sorry, the energy, the energy circulation within the body results in sensory perceptions. Pleasure prevails when the circulations are in harmony. When they are disrupted, polarity between the cells is lost. A short circuit occurs and the body is racked by pain. This was Maharishi's poem. Let us see the wrong dates of man disturbed its biomagnetic field. These are 5 aspects of life which are necessary for the man's survival, enjoyment, and happiness. The food, work, rest, sexual gratification, and uses of life thought force. When one neglects, overindulges, or improperly deals with any of these 5 aspects, the polarity of the cells will be disturbed in the body as well as in mind. Let us see one by one. The first comes food. Let us see the science behind the hunger. Every day, millions of cells, molecules, and atoms are going out from the body due to the Earth's rotation and the gravity. The movement of the body as well. As a result, several packets in the structure become vacant. This loosens the muscles and the nerves. All the vacant zones have to be refilled from the molecules contained in food. As we know, the stomach is the storehouse for food in the body. To fill the vacant places, supplies are taken in only in the stomach. The attractive forces of vacant places in the body is felt only the stomach as appetite or anger. As all of us know, for the purpose of digesting the food and processing it for the distribution all parts of the body, the stomach secretes hydrochloric acid. This HCl acid is in the diluted form so that it dissolves the food. When the stomach experiences anger, food should be taken at the proper time. If one neglects the anger, what will happen? Without the substitution of fresh molecule in the vacant places, the body will become weak. If the food is denied for a longer time, the corrosive hydrochloric acid will erode the mucous membrane in the stomach, and this will eventually result in an ulcer. This is the harm that comes from the neglect of proper food habits. Let's think about if we take more. Every individual has a particular capacity to digest the food. When the person consumes more than the quantity he can digest, that he allows the food to remain in the stomach and ferment. The body will not be able to obtain its requirements from the food that is undigested. The undigested food will also disturb the natural functions of the intestine and colon. This is an example of overindulgence in the food. Let's see what will happen if you are doing an improper food habit. Everyone is customized to certain kinds of food on a regular basis in their diet. Only such food can be digested easily and absorbed well by the cells of the body for that person. If one suddenly changes the kind of food, one is accustomed to the stomach will not be able to digest the food as well. The body cells will also find it hard to absorb the new variety. If the stomach and body cells are to accept the new types of food, the changeover should be gradual and graded. Any sudden change in food habits should be avoided. So, neglect or indulgence of food and improper food habits disturb the body functions and affect the flow of biomagnetism in the body. When the polarity of atoms, molecules, and cells in the body is disturbed and the biomagnetism got short circuited, the result is not only pain and diseases, but the disturbed polarity of cells leaves an imprint as well. Later on, the same disturbance will repeatedly tend to occur. That is why taking food, we have to follow regularity and moderation. Next comes your the work. When you see, let us see how neglect of work, overwork, or improper work disturb our biomagnetism. The physical structure of man consists of five layers, that is solid, liquid, heat, air, and life force. When the quality, quantity, flow of liquid, heat, and air are normal, the relationship between the solid and the life force is harmonious. One feels healthy and happy. Among the five aspects of life, moderation in work has its a special value. The movement of the body and the limbs enables the three flows, blood, heat, and air to circulate in the physical system in a normal manner. The contraction and expansion of the muscles bring out the easy substitutions of new molecules. If there is no proper movement of the body and limbs, useless molecules will stagnate in the body. They will cause obstruction in the flow of blood, heat, and air. So every day, some creative work or a physical exercise is necessary for the body. Children who have no responsibility to learn should be engaged in games and sports. Those who are only in mental work should also have an important daily duty. So, some kind of physical exercises to activate the body and limbs. Other hand, when the body is strained by overwork, some molecule will lost from the body due to the overactivity also. This will bring weakness in its wake, wear out of the bones and the joints, and cause loosening of the nerves. So overwork should be avoided. As we all of us know, some people, those who are doing is in the sports, in some particular activities only they are keep doing and giving. Suppose if you think about an athlete is running and for a long time he is using his body in more than the time, so they have to give a rest for their body whenever required, and otherwise they will feel that the wearing out of bones or the joints, some problems is occurring. So the overwork should be avoided. Most of the people, those who are other hand, if you see, most of the people, those who are sitting and working in the offices, like an IT people or in any administrative positions, as only have a very slight movement of the body. If they begin odd work, suddenly the entire physical system will be affected and unbearable strain and pain will result. So this kind of improper work should also be avoided. As the work is very important for us, we have to every day we must keep our exercises. As for Maharishi exercises, we have to do it. We never used to neglect the exercises. That's very important for us. It will give a complete exercise for all our parts of the body. So it will make us all our limbs and the movements is flexible. Signs of rest. See, as all of us we well aware about the food and the work, always we used to talk. Did we never think about the rest? Rest also is required for everyone. The signs of rest, that means the rest is how important, how it is affecting our body. Let's see now. For all functions, physical, that is a metabolic protein, and mental, basic fuel is biomagnetism. It is always being charged by life force particles and also being simultaneously consumed by the physical and mental function. As the level of biomagnetism keeps fluctuating in keeping with the functions of the body, a minimum level has to be maintained at all times for the proper functioning of the body and organs. The level drops as both the nervous system functions simultaneously and has to be replenished through intake of food and other means. When the level drops below a certain point, the central nervous system shuts down automatically and the body goes to the sleep. During sleep, the autonomic nervous system alone functions, whereby the levels are restored and the individual wakes up fresh from the sleep. Let us try to understand this process with the help of one example. Let us see the minimum quantity of the biomagnetism essential for the two nervous system to function effectively is 200 units. It's look like a calculations, okay? Don't mind it. Assuming that the body receives a 5 units biomagnetism from the various sources per unit. And then, so the total quantity received in a day is 24 by 5, which is 120 units. Now, if the body were to expend 3 units every hour for each of the systems, two systems we have, the total consumption at the end of 16 hours is 16 into 3 into 2, which is two systems and 3 for every hour. So 16 into 3 into 2, we are spending 96 units. So it's against the receipt of 80 units during that period. The level of biomagnetism at the end of 16 hours is 16 into 5, 18 units. So let's see the final net quantity of the biomagnetism at the end of 16 hours is 200 plus 80, that is we are receiving it from the other sources and spending 96, so the net is 184. At this point, the central nervous system, which is 184 is less than our minimum requirement because we defined we need minimum 200 units. Now we are getting only 184. So the central nervous system shuts down and the individual falls asleep. The central nervous system remains inactive during sleep with only the autonomic nervous system functioning, whereby the consumption of 21 units is warded off. The body, however, continues to receive the biomagnetism at the rate of 5 units per hour during the sleep also. The body conserves biomagnetism at the end of 8 hours. When the normal levels are restored, the individual wakes up fresh and alert. So we can see from one of the flowchart of this, if our input is more than our outgo, that is a surplus stock we have biomagnetism, it gives us pressure. When our input is less than our outgo, that is the meaning of spending, then we have a shortfall of biomagnetism, it gives us pain. Input is equal to our outgo, that means a balanced life, it is a peacefulness we will get. If input is greater than very little outgo, so its outgoing is very less, also we have enough input, so one with a divine state, that is called as ecstasy, which we always try to achieve it. In this, we can understand sleep is one of the miracles of nature that helps keep the body refreshed and active. It is an important part of existence for man also. If sleep is neglected, what will happen? One will be short of energy. How can the body and mind will work with a full vigor? If the body's need to take rest is not attended to, one loses both the strength and health. On the other hand, excessive of sleep will cause laziness and stagnation of fluid in the body. This will also affect the person's health similarly. Irregular or improper sleep, like not sleeping for 2 days at a stretch, then sleeping even during a daytime, will also disturb the body chemistry and lead to illness. And if you want to understand more about the importance of sleep, that Muthu sir has given a speech as Sleep and Vedantriyam. It is available in our YouTube. Please find a time to listen. You can understand the importance of sleep. Next, we are going on to the fourth aspect, which is sexual gratification, which we always deny to talk in public. As we are all Vedantrians, we learn the value of sexual visual fluid, SVF, in our Kayakalpa course in detail. The entire mechanism and chemistry of the body is based wholly on the well-being of SVF. Further, the quantity and quality of the life force in the body determine the quantity of charge and stock of biomagnetism. When the SVF is thrown away in an irresponsible manner, or when protection of the fluid is reduced by illness or an old age, then the stock of life force becomes proportionally less. As for Maharishi, the fact that the human breath is the result of the emission of the SVF paves the way for the same thought and the need for the emission to behind the thoughts. It is natural for the sex desire to arise once a boy or a girl attains puberty and has to balance through suitable means. This concept he explained very clearly in his one of the poem when the mother accepts the sexual excretion of the father and adds it to her own. A body hollowed is formed through the deeds and milk from her body the infant she feeds. My body, a symbol of pleasure they sought, and the result of their act which they begot. In time and with maturity and age seeks the same acts in which to engage. It is this is why it is important to teach our teenagers the importance of SVF, which our YYE program was started by our WCSC. Physical exercises, Kundalini meditation, and Kayakalpa Yoga helps control the sex urge in all age groups. So we have to use it in a proper way. Next comes the very important and powerful aspect is thought. Awesome to behold, the features of the mind is greatest to be realized by all humankind, said by our Maharishi. Thoughts are the greatest phenomena in nature because nature itself can be compressed into thoughts. The magnitude of thoughts, the presence of which can be never denied, cannot be explained through the words. Thought arise from a tiny dot and imprint in the genetic center, but they can expand to encompass the entire universe by Maharishi. The qualities of any individual depend on the nature of his thought. The nobler the thought, the greater his personality. Thought sculpts human lives and have to be sublimated with care. Attempting to subdue any thought only makes the mind wander. It has to be eradicated through proper analysis. Thoughts can be guarded against only with the help of other thoughts. Every individual is privy to his own thoughts, and it lies with him to judge them and nip the unwanted ones in the bud. People normally do not think alike or even along similar lines. Whereas some may wish well for the world, others may think only in terms of their selfish pleasures. Noble thoughts arise when the mind is in an expanded state. During its narrow or shrunken moments, evil thoughts prevail. As for Maharishi, thoughts that do not harm one's self or the other, physically or mentally, immediately or subsequently, are good. Otherwise, they are bad or evil, we can say. Bad or evil thoughts arise when the mind is in a forgetful state of and lacks of awareness. This should be avoided, and the only way to do so is it is consciously nurture our good thoughts all the time. Wise people are Nani who keeps his thoughts pure by examining them constantly. It can be achieved by anyone. All it requires is diligent practice, such as thought analysis, given by our Maharishi. Recalling the images and works of the noble souls helps improve the quality of the thoughts. Those, as one of the famous Tamil poet Thiruvalluvar said, those who think will have their thought fulfilled just they, as they thought, provided they possess strength of will. It means if those who have planned possess firmness that is in executing it, they will obtain what they have desired, even as they have desired it. As Maharishi puts it, thoughts come to pause along for so long as they strong and pure. That means one thinks of a friend and blesses him, then the working force of the mind will be of a certain frequency and chosen the character whereby it will radiate a harmonious wave to all parts of the body. If one thinks of an enemy and curses him, the force of the mind will then be aggravated in its frequency and character. As a result, this wave will disturb the whole body. By blessing or cursing, the thinker is fast characterizing himself and thereby does either good or bad to himself. That thought wave then affects the atmosphere and the person concerned also. Once a blessing or a curse is imprinted into two persons, the interaction between them goes on continuously, and the good or a bad effect becomes perpetuated. Such is the potential and power of the thought. If one neglects dealing with the power of thought properly through lack of knowledge, what will happen? Our own treasure of life is the accumulation of sin imprints. All the imprints are derived from the thoughts, words, and deed. So we should give due respect to our thought force and always be aware of our thoughts, whether they are reflection of another's or our own. Focusing our thought on our behavior and personality is a process of streamlining and sublimating all our psychic functions. Imaginary expectations resulting from greed or to our own actions or a hatred or scheming to cause pain and lose to others. These are manifestation of improper thinking and wasteful use of the thought force. Because of hereditary imprints and imprints of deeds committed in the present life, degrading thoughts and pain, resulting actions may get reflected again and again, but through the systematic practice of meditation and analysis of thought practice given by our Maharishi, one can come to the right path of life. Let us summarize that. Detachment, attachment to the men and materials is natural. This attachment is necessary for survival relationship and enjoyment of life. No one can renounce all material comforts and human relationship and go to some isolated corner of the globe to lead a life of loneliness. Wherever one goes, there are bound to be similar attachments. But if one develops an awareness in one's character to enjoy or deal with attachment by acting within limit and by certain methods, the ill effects of attachments to men and materials will not emerge at all. I would like to end this speech with a below example. You find choice and tasty food before you come to the point of having eaten the digestive quantity. If you consume more, you know it will cause indigestion. So when you come to the point, you have to draw the line and say, thus far and no further, no further. This is the process of detachment to understand the limit and follow it in action. To follow a method for better health, relax, and take sufficient time to eat. With this understanding and awareness, we can practice detachment and moderation in dealing with everything. Thank you for the opportunity. Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by